We are live. Let's go live on Instagram as well. What's going on, everybody? Okay, we're live on YouTube. We're live on Instagram. I hope the camera's okay. Take a few minutes and let people kind of roll in. Ooh, that's really bright. Why? Mateen, what's going on, bro? Assalamu alaikum. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for joining. Mateen, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, do that. The links in my bio are in the are in my stories. I just put it up. We're just gonna wait like, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds or a minute, let the live thing do its thing and get out to everybody. Oh, what's going on, bro? Mateen, I think you're gonna have some really interesting perspectives on what we're gonna chat about today, because you're an artist as well. So I'm excited. Yeah, today is episode 3, Raz Unfiltered. We are talking about arts, or the truth behind these arts organizations and how they claim to be supporting artists. But in reality, in my experience, they really just use us to sell tickets and to market, because they know we're really good at gathering people, and they tend not to be. So we're gonna get into that. Just so you guys know, if you want to join the live Q&A and chat on YouTube, you just have to subscribe to the channel, and then you can ask all your questions throughout the episode. Also, if you go to the link under this video or in my bio here, if you're on Instagram live with us, you can join the mailing list, and you'll just get more content and stuff like this that I'll be dropping this year. So let's get into it. These arts organizations. So you may have seen my little clip that I put on Instagram and YouTube here, that was saying pretty much a call out at for these organizations to be like, yo, take accountability for the fact that you're really not out here to try to help artists. Now, I think some organizations, and this is unfiltered, so I'm not trying to be like politically correct or careful, but um, side note, a lot of people see me, and I just learned this like 2 days ago. A lot of people see me at like shows, or they see me at events, and they think I'm like really like quiet and always like stuck in my thoughts and intense, which I didn't realize until somebody told me that like a few days ago. It's been like 14 years, and I just realized that people might see me this way. But I'm actually like super opinionated, and I can get worked up about things that I really believe in, that I'm really serious about. And this is one of them. So these arts organizations, they could be festivals, they could be community orgs, they could be like charities, whatever it is. These organizations that use artists for their events, and in the background, some of you guys may not know this, they'll come to artists and be like, hey, we love what you did at this show. Like for me, for instance, we did a big headline show with Narcy. We did a headline show with Tone Trump. I sold out my own like backyard bonfire show, and it was great. And they're like, oh, we saw you headline all these things. Can you come perform at our event? And then I'll be like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like I love doing community events. It's like an important thing for me, to stay connected to the community and give back. But they'll say like, oh, we saw you here, we saw you do this, it was so amazing, we love your work, so can you come to our event? And but we don't have budget, so can you do it for free, because we're like raising money, or we're just trying to get people together, do this and this. Now I understand, totally important to me, but at the same time, I'm talking about this in general, like whether or not it's a cause specifically, or it's just like an annual dinner they have for fundraising. Once there's fundraising involved in the Muslim community, they assume that everything needs to be free. And that's my first. If you're a nonprofit or whatever, you're trying to raise money, I get it. What pisses me off the most is the lack of understanding and awareness, because the thing they'll use to kind of pull the artist in to get them to do what they want them to do is that there's going to be this many people here, we're going to give you this much marketing, and at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't really need your marketing. I have a marketing team. Like I do a job and I get paid to do this job. We can chat about discounts and whatever. We can chat about doing it for the community. but your goal should not be to get the artist for free, especially when I find out in the background of all this, because I know a lot of people in different places at different levels of organizations. I've been around for a long time. What up, Jeezy? Um, so I know these people in the background, and so I know what these budgets are like for big organizations, for charitable organizations, etc. I know how much money they put into marketing every year. Like I got receipts. I got like numbers. I got hard numbers from people who work in these organizations being like, we spent this much on food. We spent this much on social media marketing. We spent this much on like pamphlets. So at the end of the day, if I have a understandable, if I understand what your budget is like, I'm like, so when you spent 3,000 here, 1,500 here, 10 here, and then you came to the artist who is the centerpiece for attracting people to your event most of the time. Or there's multiple artists who are that stage is going to be what attracts people to come see a performance, and that artist is going to create this atmosphere and connection with the audience and get them in their feelings and emotions. That is the work we do. You're telling me through all of that budget, you never set aside anything for the artist? It seems like we're always getting scraps. That's what I wanted to do this episode on. And again, I want to highlight that it, it's worse when it's organizations who claim to support artists. And that could be nonprofits. Like I work with some nonprofits who say they want to support the arts and they know the arts drives community building, et cetera, et cetera. So this could be any nonprofit, any business, any organization. But when you also outright say you claim, and when you say and you claim that you support artists and you're trying to build the artist community and build artistry within the community, and then you behave like this, it tells me that you do not understand artists. You do not actually care to foster artistry in the community. Because if you did, there would be a little bit of budget somewhere set aside for the artists, right? Like I find I go into these events and I'm arguing and fighting for the artists to get paid or to just have like a green room or have a proper sound check. Like nothing is professional about your setup, but you claim you support artists and building the artist community. You know how many times I've heard that? And now I just laugh. I just laugh because I'm like, this is a joke. Like what you really want is to sell tickets and you want the artist to do it for free. So you want a service to be executed and you want it to drive your ticket sales and you know it's going to return revenue for you or raise money for you, but you don't want to put any investment into it. Right. Um, that is what really pisses off artists. The second part of this, and then we'll just open it up to like Q&A. You guys can totally, if you're on Instagram, you can totally just throw questions into the chat here. And if you're on YouTube, welcome. This is the main thing here. You get the full experience on YouTube. You can, if you're subscribed, just subscribe, and then you're able to throw questions into the chat. But the second piece of this is the impact that I don't think these people in these organizations realize it has on our community and the perceptions of our community in the mainstream. So when we don't foster the arts, or when we claim we do, but you're not actually doing the work to support the artist, like you're not trying to understand artists, you're just really using the artists, and you think giving them a stage to perform on is supporting the arts. Like, yeah, that's step 1 of 300. But when you think that that's it, what you're doing is you're not supporting and you're not building artists from the community, from our background, from our cultures that are able to then uh, succinctly and beautifully write our stories and write our experiences and perform these experiences in a way that really and show. Um, why would the world think any every time there's a terrorist or a war going on, there's the band playing in the background? Oh, the YouTube stream's breaking up. I think my It's steady on my end, but I'll keep an eye on it. Thank you. But yeah, when there's every time you watch a movie, there's like war, guns going off, somebody being kidnapped, and the event is playing in the background. We are directly and actively combating that image of us in the mainstream media. And we want to cry about it and we want to complain about it when they portray us this way and when they say Muslims are terrorists. We just want to kill everybody and we're violent. We cry about it, we upset about it. Oh, they shouldn't do that, blah, 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 blah. And then you turn around and you don't want to pay your artists who are the ones that make those movies, who write those scripts, who sing those songs, who make those clothes, right? You don't want to pay them to actually tell our stories. You don't want to actually support them to tell our stories. But then you're going to turn around and cry when those stories aren't accurately represented in the mainstream. And that's what this whole episode is really about. Because these organizations claim to support us. They claim that they're out to help build the community. I have not seen one of these organizations who have a professional artist on the board or like on the executive team. Not and the former artists I know that have been on some of these boards and some of these teams have all left for the exact same reason I'm talking about right now. The goal is never building artistry. Now, I don't expect these organizations, your goal is not like you're not a record label, right? You're not a film studio, but then don't claim to be in the arts. The other thing is like sometimes I guess people think it's cool to say like I know so and so or I know this artist who does this and you're not an artist so maybe it's cool to be associated with them, but like you're actually doing way more harm by claiming to support us and then not understanding, not have any foundation, not have any people in place to actually help us and support us, because you directly hinder these artists like myself from doing more stories and getting it on the sidewalk or something. So this has been a big gripe for me. It's really pissed me off. I must say, at this point, a lot of organizations have heard this from me personally. So when they book me, I feel like the approach when they book me is different. They don't speak to me necessarily the same way. I've been around for a little while, but I had to that so many years to like to demand certain things, organizations. Uh, sure like I will do my job correctly, like as an artist and care of my family, food on the table. I had to fight for that. And I know, especially when it comes to female artists in any discipline, especially when it right that's a whole other episode. Going to be a whole other episode that I do on what's the word discrimination of Muslim in the Muslim community between male and female artists specifically. But yeah, I could go on about this for an hour. But yeah, I could go on about this for an hour. Um, I know the stream is being kind of weird. I don't know if it's YouTube actually, because my internet seems like it's running solid. So I apologize if it's freaking out on you. But feel free to like shoot any questions into the chat, either on YouTube if you're on live or on Instagram live, and we can just chop it up. I'd love to hear your opinions on your experiences on this topic of like support for the arts and how our community and the community organizations show up for artists. Um, it's been a big problem. I know for artists it's a big problem. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for letting me know. I know for artists it's a big problem. We have this conversation all the time. Um, it's a it's like ongoing. It's been probably it's been 15 years I've been making music, but let's say it's been about 12 that I've been specific time with truly supporting artists. So I think there's such a huge opportunity. Like there's a really big opportunity for these organizations that have money or have resources to pull some of it into supporting the arts, right? And then if you do, all of a sudden these artists can tell such beautiful, profound stories that will directly change how people see us, whether it's just brown people, whether it's like people of color, Muslims, like minorities, whatever it is, if we're supported and the artists are able to tell the stories and speak their truths, you get the same thing that Hollywood has, which is a whole bunch of Zionists that like push their agendas and push their stories. And now look what we have. Now we can commit an entire genocide in one side of the world, but because they've portrayed Arabs and Muslims a certain way so many decades, bats an eye till 3 years into a genocide. Because every time we see them in the media, these guys are terrorists and they're warmongers and they like to hurt women and children. And it's like, yeah, because a huge part of that was the media and entertainment for the last 30 years or 20 years that impressed that image on people's minds. We can't be upset about that and be angry about that and not do anything to combat it. And that's why I say it starts with these organizations, these arts organizations. If you claim that you're going to help artists, understand that when you make that claim, it is way bigger and deeper of an issue and a topic than just you selling some tickets to fundraise, right? Yeah, that's my piece. That's what I really wanted to get out. I think the stream is a little bit more solid now. Oh, we got some questions. Okay. Sarah asked, can you talk a little bit more about female artists? And Mateen asked, love to hear what the bare minimum arts org should do to support artists during their show. I know you mentioned compensation, but would love to hear other ways. Sarah, I'm going to get to your question in a second because the female artist side is like much deeper and complex. And I'm totally going to do an episode on that. Maybe on Sunday, I'll do on that while this topic is hot. Studio Rue. Okay, so Studio Rue said, I'd love to hear what the bare minimum arts org should do to support artists during their shows. Compensation, but would love to hear other ways. Okay, so compensation is obviously the way. You're an artist, Mateen, you know. It's like the most straightforward way. Like you said, it's an organization. It's a community organization. It might be a nonprofit. I understand the budgets are not the same. However, how you treat that artist in booking them, the way you speak to them when you're talking about compensation, like uplifting them and letting them know that we know you're worth this much, or we wish we could pay you this much. And I have had some who have done this. They say, we know we would love to pay you that much, but we can't. And here's what we can give you instead. Like we can pay for parking. We can offer you food. We can have a green room. I think the bare minimum that you asked for, Mateen, was, what's the bare minimum they can do? Give you a proper sound check. Like just give me 30 minutes so I can make sure my sound is correct and ask me what gear I need. I'm just a musician because I'm a musician. Ask me what I need to have a good performance and then give me a proper sound check. And this is what I mean by a lot of them don't even understand artists. And I'm a musician and I can tell you a lot of them don't understand musicians. I come in and have to tell them I need this. I have to follow up for it. So like not only you're not paying me, but now I'm doing the work you should be doing to even have me come out and do the show. You know what I mean? And to perform for these people. And I love being on stage, gathering the community that way and speaking about and raising money for a great cause. But like the bare minimum is like facilitate that, right? Like professionally. It seems like they want to sell the tickets, they want the artist there, but then they don't want to do any work. And maybe I don't think it's laziness. I think it's just like they don't understand. They don't know how to do it. But instead of asking or bringing an artist onto the team, their agenda is not focused on the arts. So again, don't claim that part of what you do is like putting on the artist. And this is not every organization, right? But it's a big, I think the bare minimum is like facilitate the ability for the artist to put on a good show. At least like, I remember that is the artist's brand. Just because they're doing your event doesn't mean their brand disappears. That's their job. They still have to leave that event and go to another one and make money and feed their family. So when the bare minimum is allow me to represent my brand correctly, right? Especially if you're not going to pay me. And oftentimes I find the people who are willing to pay, when they're willing to pay, the back end of everything is usually taken care of because they understand the whole process, right? Like if you pay for this artist to come, you also put some money up. So you're more likely to want a better performance from that artist. You want the most out of that artist because you're paying for them. And so they teams that do pay, I find they're better prepared. they assign somebody to you to like help you throughout the day that you're there. They'll give you a green room. But I think Mateen, I hope that answers your question, but I think the bare minimum is like facilitate a good performance. Like remember, to respect and remember that this is an artist who has a craft and delivers a service. And if you don't give me the tools or give me the space to deliver that service properly, it's not going to be good. And then it's not going to be enjoyable for me. And now I'm never going to why I stayed out of Muslim community events for almost of my career. Like 7 to 8 years, I just stayed out of these Muslim it's because they weren't paying and then they didn't know how to facilitate me as an artist. So then I was like, well, I didn't get paid when I left here. I did not feel like I had a great performance. Um, and the facilitation was terrible, not just for me, but like in how they facilitate the crowd, like how they set up the chairs, how they set up the audience to get them prepared for me to come on stage, as opposed to just throwing me on stage because you have an agenda of artists to get through and nobody's paying attention and nobody cares that the artist is on stage. Bro, oh, Mateen, you got me worked up, man. The biggest thing, Jamie, what up? The biggest thing, I think the bare minimum, if I had to pick one thing, because I just said a lot, get the goddamn bio for the artist correct, right? Even if you don't get it correct, just read the goddamn bio. Cannot tell you how many times I just came off a tour. I was doing like 14 shows, and then I did one with Narcy. I'm writing with Isam B in Copenhagen. I'm like doing all these crazy things. And then I get to a community event and these guys don't even read my bio. Or the host is like messing it up, saying my name wrong, not reading the parts of the bio that they asked me 2 weeks in advance. Like, we need your bio, we need your bio, we need your bio by this date. And then you don't even read it. You get my name wrong. You see the accolades wrong. You cut it in half. You like, crazy. Just at least give the artist their bio so that people can hear who they are. Like, that's part of the brand. If you don't even understand how to present an artist on the stage by reading their bio off a goddamn piece of paper, then yeah, you're not doing the bare minimum and you really don't care. There are 3 events I went to in the last 2 years that did that. And I think 2 of them emailed me back. That was a year ago, 2 years ago. Last year, 2 of them emailed me back and they were like, "Oh, you had such a great performance. We love to see you there. Like, we love to have you back." And I straight up was like, "Nah, I'm not coming back. Here's why. Like, you got my bio wrong. Step 1. Like, you can't." And what my goal is and how I impact the community. It's very obvious you just want me to sell tickets at my name things. And one of those organizations had my face without telling me on like flyers all over the city. So some people, it was cool. Like, some people showed up because they saw that. But like, you literally used if you guys don't know what NIL is, you should look it up. You use my name, image, likeness, which is a legal issue, marketed me like crazy, and then didn't read my bio correct. Bro, that's it, Mateen. Okay, I got to get off this. I'm gonna say some things on live stream that I'm gonna regret. So, Sarah, I am a female artist, and I want to know what I need mentally to prepare myself when I start releasing music. Sorry, I think again, I'll do an episode on community organizations booking male versus female artists. Maybe Sunday. I'll let you guys know. But in terms of like getting ready, and then sorry, please bring this question back. If you can like write it down, bring it up in that stream as well. But if to prepare yourself for releasing music, I don't think there's much you need to really do to prepare yourself in that regard as a female artist releasing music, versus when you're trying to like book shows. Because when you're releasing the music, you have control over the marketing and how it comes off to people. This specifically is about like how the community organizations treat artists that are female versus male. So when they're trying to book you is primarily the thing. If they're trying to book you for a show, how they negotiate, what they're willing to offer you. I know some of my friends who are female artists who like 3 days, they booked to perform their music 3 days before the show. The event messages them and they're like, "Oh, by the way, can you not perform it as songs? And can you like do it as spoken word?" And that really pisses me off because I'm like, did you not know this was a musician when you booked them? Like, why all of a sudden do they have to do it in spoken word? Again, the lack of professionalism, lack of preparation. They have like deadlines. You have to send us these images by this time and send us your bio by this time, or we won't be able to say it, and then you don't say it anyways. But they it's like that type of thing where all of a sudden when it's female artists, never mind the pay usually being less, they just don't respect the process. Like they're not professional with them to the point of like, you book me to do music now, all of a sudden you want me to do spoken word. Like, no, that's not what I do. And some of the artists I know can do that, but like, why should the female artists have to do that? If I say this all the time, if you're a Muslim organization specifically and you don't platform female artists, everybody like there's Islamic. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not a sheikh. I'm not a fiqh scholar. But there are arguments I know that say that women shouldn't be singing and shouldn't be making music and whatever. Cool, whatever. Everybody can follow their own school of thought. If you're an organization that follows the school of thought that females shouldn't be doing the performances, then just don't book female artists and like have grow some balls really and take a stance. Be like, as an organization, you don't have to say this to the public, you can just say it to the artists. As an organization, we don't book female artists because this is our stance. I don't necessarily agree with it. Artists may not necessarily agree with it, but like at least we know then this organization only books male artists. If these organizations only book male artists, then at least the female artists know, cool. Like I might not like it, but I at least you're not going to book me and then all of a sudden ask me to do something different with my craft, right? So if you, as an organization, if you just say I'm a Muslim artist, sorry, we don't platform female Muslim artists. Again, doesn't have to be public. Just say it to the artists. Then there's no expectation, and then we can avoid you if we want to avoid you. We could just not come, or we can come if we agree with that. Like, cool. But Mustafa, love you too, man. Nice to see you in here. I miss you, man. But yeah, if you're claiming that you just support artists and so you want this female artist to come in and you love their music and blah, blah, blah. And then 48 hours before the show, you're like, oh, you know what? People aren't going to really like it. We're getting some backlash from it. That's because you never took a stance. It's because you probably, I'm going to say this right out, you probably, uh, as an organization or an individual that's booking these artists, you probably don't even understand your stance. You probably don't understand the fiqh. You probably don't understand the schools of thought. So that's why you can be so wishy-washy 48 hours before a show and be like, so and so said this, so we're worried about it. Uh, um, that's never happened to me, but I know it's happened to multiple female artists that I know. And so, again, this is where contracts are really important. It's a whole other topic, but having a contract that states, especially for female artists, that states up until this date, the payment can be rescinded or show can date or the promoter or the booking the artist has to pay in full. They also realize these artists work like 2 before the show, we're rehearsing the set, we're doing the bios, all this stuff. There's at least doing full band. There's at least 12, 20 hours, depending on the length of the performance that work that we're doing before we even show up. So it's a yeah to book a female artist, let them get to 48 hours before, and then tell them to change their whole set or like cancel them. You should be paying them 150%. You should be paying them their full rate, or at least the 50% deposit that should be up front. So, anyway, sorry, it gets a little. We can get into this on the in real detail on the next episode, but I think when you're looking at booking shows after you've released music, that's where this really comes into to effect. Yeah, so I don't know if I missed them. Mateen says, love that. Definitely answer my question. And as someone who wants to eventually have events with artists, this is good for me to know how to be respectful when doing so. I love that. Thank you, Mateen. It's a very important thing to do is like, do your what this comes down to really is um, just seeking knowledge and understanding of artists. What do you need? Just ask. I've had organizations that have been like, hey, we can't pay you, but tell me what you need and we will figure out everything else. Cool. I can tell you whatever I need. That's great, but I feel supported. And that's why I say if you're an organization who says they support artists, but you don't even know how to ask the questions, you can't read my bio properly, like, yeah, you don't care. You're trying to sell tickets, and we're not dumb. Like, they think these artists are like desperate for marketing and desperate for exposure, so desperate that you can just treat them however. And unfortunately, because a majority of our community, our artists in the community get their performances through these organizations, these community orgs, they are desperate because there's nowhere else for them to go unless they go play in a club or they go play in somewhere in a setting that they don't want to be in as a Muslim. Um, so then they are kind of like you are kind of keeping our artists down so you can leverage the marketing and not pay them, right? And I'll be honest, like it gets deep. Like I might sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I think subconsciously by keeping and stopping one of our artists from really blowing up, some of these organizations know that they can book this artist uh, multiple times for the next few years because they know the art's really good and they're really good with the crowd and they bring in a crowd. But if you pay them too much or you platform them too much, they become bigger than your organization. And now you're going to really have to pay them if you want them back. And that to me in my like heart of hearts is what I feel. That is really what I feel some of these organizations are doing. Um, but yeah, so Mateen, you asking the question is so key. And then obviously, like I've done shows for everybody from Tone Trump to Narcy to Assam B to I can't even tell you how many different shows in the city. And I do have other organizations that come to me and they're like, "Yo, can you just like consult on this or help produce this show with us and perform?" Because they are like, "We don't know what we're doing, but we do want to help the artists." That to me is the biggest thing. Just bring an artist on. When I started the live stream, I said a lot of these organizations claim they want to support artists, and there's not one professional artist or former professional artist on their executive team. So how do you know what artists need? Like genuinely, if you don't ask. That's the only other option is you ask and you listen to what they say. So what up, Hussein? So yeah, anyways, Mateen, you asking is the key. And just hit me up, bro. We'll figure it out. Um, yeah. The arts is not some of them forget like the arts is not uh that simple. Like music is very different and requires very different things than film. And film requires different things than visual arts and uh novel writing and like authors and directors and filmmakers. Like it's all different. So you really do have to ask and do your research or just bring an artist on, man. I'm here. Just bring me on. We'll get it figured out. I'm passionate about supporting the arts. So yeah, that's that. Oh, another. What's up, bro? Hope you're feeling well. Inshallah. May Allah give you all the health for you and your family. Yes, he said, and Nader said, and by the way, Nader Khan official, NADERKHAN official. Go for that guy. He's unbelievable artist, mashallah, on Instagram and on YouTube. Um, but he says, and they want to pay in exposure. That's what we talked about earlier. They're like, "Oh, we'll pay you in exposure," and I'm like, "I'm a grown man. I don't need your exposure. I have a marketing budget. I have a marketing team." Um, and so I'm like, I don't need your exposure. Also, what are you really doing for me other than putting me on a stage? If you don't read my bio, if you don't put my handles on the screen, if you're not doing anything to actually tell people who I am when I'm on the stage, putting me up on the stage while everybody walks around and does something else and is not paying attention is not exposure. Um, so like, yeah, I'm just it's paying an exposure is not a thing. You would never go to your graphic designer and be like, "Hey, we're gonna pay you an exposure," and just like put your name on it. It's like giving credit to somebody is the bare minimum. That like you have to give them credit whether you pay them or not. So I agree with you, Nather. And sorry, yes, it is very unfortunate. Um, and to be honest, I'll wrap it up here because we're almost hitting 40 minutes. These are supposed to be half an hour, but you guys crushed it today. So thank you. Um, it is very unfortunate. And to bring it back to the point, be, it's so unfortunate that more of our organizations don't understand this because it in our community, the artists grow through these organizations. I'm trying to change that. I have my record label, Lost Poet Records, the music we're doing, I'm producing for other artists, where we're outside of these organizations specifically. Even when we're going to see that we have a tour coming up this year. We're going to do 4 shows in Toronto. We're trying to get it to the UAE, to the Caribbean, and to Southeast Asia, all outside of funding or backing or partnerships with organizations or like nonprofits and charities, because I've recognized that like stuck with them being the ones that foot the bill or have the stages or the opportunity, then you can't grow past them for all these reasons we talked about. So yes, it's unfortunate, and that the artists now have to like create their own lane, and these organizations aren't actually supporting us to take it to the next level, because then our stories, they have the ability to platform and highlight our stories that will change the narrative and the narrative. It'll help us own our narratives and tell our own stories and change the perspective of how people see us as a community, as our diverse cultures and backgrounds. So when you don't support us correctly and you really don't care about us other than us helping you sell tickets, then you actually hinder our ability to show the world who we really are and what we represent, right? And that we're not all terrorists and we're not all psycho killers. Um, yeah, so it's unfortunate, but I think the upside is, this isn't supposed to be like super negative. The upside is there's an opportunity here with what we're doing at Lost Poet Records and with my music and the team, is we're trying to create a new lane. You guys showing up to these live streams and following artists, supporting the artist, buying directly from the artist, that's huge right now. I'm gonna do another episode on streaming, but buying directly from the artist, huge, right? Just empowering the artists so that they can do what they need to do to get our stories out there is so important. So do that. Um, it makes it, when organizations behave this way, it allows us to see like what we really need to do. So alhamdulillah, it is what it is. I think it's changing. I do think it's changing. I just think probably not fast enough. But we're gonna leave it at that. Thank you guys so much for joining another episode of Raz Unfiltered. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube if you're on Instagram, or if you're on the YouTube stream. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube. We're moving all of my music, we're moving all of the content over to YouTube, including these Raz Unfiltered episodes are obviously there. So subscribe and you can jump in the chat, ask questions for the Q&A. And yeah, we'll be back on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern for the next episode. I'll announce it the next couple days. I'm not sorry, you brought up some great points, so I will think about what the best topic is to do next. For now, peace. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern.